love it there too. And like a player like that, the team knows you've got to reward him because he's a really good player and he wants to be there. And defensemen like him are really hard to find. They said he's not a huge points guy. Like he had 18 points 2 years ago. He had 20 points and 6 goals last year. And so when you have a player like that, you try to give him a little bit more because he's valuable to you and you want to make him happy. But guys like that, the numbers tend not to be outrageous. So my pick would be Lowry for the reasons I explained. But I thought it was interesting that a number of people said Samberg for the reasons they explained. You still got to make him happy and you got to take care of him. And I have no doubt that Winnipeg will. But because he's not a big points guy, it's not like a number that goes to really enormous highs. And I just thought that was a really interesting perspective.
Busy one for Kevin Cheveldayoff and company. The Anaheim Ducks. So Michael Granlund, 3-year deal, $7 million AAV. They did the Zegras trade. They got some RFAs to take care of. McTavish, Hellison, Dostal. It's a team that wants to make the playoffs next year, as we've talked about, Elliot. How do you feel about things in SoCal?
I like the Granlund move. I like their forwards. You look up and down their depth chart, their forwards look really good. Really good. I think that team is going to be able to score. Granlund, I heard, liked his time in California with San Jose and was interested in California. So I don't necessarily think it's just, they gave him the best offer. I think he wanted to be out there. That's what some teams had indicated to me. I also like the Kreider gamble. Anaheim struggled with their special teams, and he was a good special teams player in New York. He's not as effective a 5-on-5 guy anymore, but he can play on your special teams, both power play and penalty kill. So to me, that seems like a good gamble for what ailed Anaheim. I think too, just ending the Gibson debate, Gibson is still a good goalie, as we talked about with Detroit, but that story is over. It's not, is John Gibson going to be traded anymore? Is John Gibson happy? Does he want to be there? It's over. And I think there's something to be said for that. It's just not a thing they have to worry about anymore. Does a player want to be there? My concern with the Ducks is their lefty. Like Lacombe took a big step forward next year. He looks like a stud. I think Zellweger and Mintyukov, I think those players both struggled with being in and out of the lineup. Like I heard at different times last year, both of those players were kind of like, I want to play more. I don't want to be in and out. I'm sitting out too much. And I think Pat Verbeek kind of said, like, both you guys are going to have to be patient. I'm not trading you, and I'm not promising you anything I don't think you have to earn. Like, Verbeek is old school. He's like, you want it, earn it. And I really have no problem with that attitude. I think at different times in the offseason, other teams called about Zellweger and Mintyukov. Obviously, nothing's happened. And Verbeek has said, no, I'm not doing that. But if you look at the depth chart right now, Kyle, that's their left side of the D. And it's a great opportunity. If it doesn't change, it's a great opportunity for those two kids. But it's where I'd look at with Anaheim and I'd say, okay, look at who you're going up against in the Western Conference and the Pacific Division. That's the area I would be a little bit concerned about that. I think also, too, McTavish, Dostal, they still got to get contracts done with those guys. Verbeek, he's careful, right? I don't think he wants to hand anybody money too quickly. He's like, if you want the money, you're going to have to earn it. And so I think if there's long-term extensions here, they're at numbers that are very favorable to the Ducks, to the point where I'd be surprised. It doesn't mean it can't happen. Like I always say, I said it like 5 times on this podcast, I'm going to say this, and then the opposite will happen. I'll look like an idiot. But I would be shocked if they got long-term deals done at big numbers. I could see Verbeek saying, no, I'm happy doing bridges, and if you get to that point, then we'll do it later. But they got to get to the playoffs. Like I said, I really like their forwards. I really like Dostal. I'm wondering about the left side. Tough division. The other thing I'm curious about is the first time Perry shows up at Anaheim wearing a Kings jersey, do they need defibrillators for every fan in the building?
Yes. Because how many Corey Perry Ducks jerseys do you think are still hanging around Orange County? I would think a lot.
That would be hilarious, actually, if fans showed up wearing Perry's Ducks jerseys the first game there.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Like, they
Don't let
have
us
that
down,
great,
Duck fans.
You know what? They have that great. Remember, we went last year. We went to that great, that great preseason game, the Kings and the Ducks at the rink in Ontario.
Yeah.
And there were a ton of Kings fans there, and there were a ton of Ducks fans there.
Do it there.
Do it there.
I love it. Great idea. Yeah, that's going to be a mind bender for Ducks fans. I know he's been gone for a little while now, but the Kings, oof. That'll be a whole different plate of food to digest for Ducks fans, for sure. All right, the Calgary Flames, Elliot. 6-year deal for Kevin Ball, 2-year deal for Morgan Frost. Craig Conroy said there's going to be a time they go out and take a big swing in free agency, but seems like given their young players in-house, the opportunity remains the priority. Is it just stay the course for Conroy and the Flames, or is the mindset shifting at all after last year?
I think the Flames have low-key taken some bigger swings than we've fully realized yet, especially on defense. I heard they thought about some things that were bigger than we realized. You know, obviously there was the Anderson talks with Vegas, and I will say this: I don't think it's accurate that Anderson will only play for one team, but I have heard it's limited. It's more than one, but it's not like 10. I think it's a short list at this point in time, and I understand why the Flames might say no to that now and think they'll be in a better place later, because if they trade him at the deadline, then he'll go anywhere that's good. There'll be a market for a player like him. He's a right-hand shot, good player, making not a lot of money. And at that point in time, you're just going somewhere where you think you can best fit in and showcase yourself for the next deal. And if you go to a good team and you make it better, it really sets you up. So I understand why the Flames feel that way. It's not a bad strategy. But I think right now, the number of teams, like I wouldn't be surprised if one of those teams, for example, oh yeah, sure, I go play for the Florida Panthers. Well, Florida Panthers can't make that deal. So but I'm sure there's a couple other like that too. But, you know, this was supposed to be a big summer for the Flames because before the cap really jumped, they were one of the few teams with room. And I think they were really hoping to take advantage of that. Well, now more people had room, and it made it harder to take advantage of.